All right. Okay, I got two Playfields here, right? This awesome clear-coated Meteor, but I'm actually gonna take all the parts off and I'm gonna put it on this Stargazer, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so you know they made so many Meteors. How many Meteors did they make? Like 10,000 or something like this, or I don't know, like quite a lot. And they only made like 500 Stargazers or something like this. And the value, in my opinion, of when I work on a game now is, and my time is really, there's a lot of time that goes into these games, so I want to make as much money and save as much time as I can. So I'm going to take, maybe a $2,000 game or something like this and turn it into, like a $7,000 or $8,000 game, and you're pretty much just upgrading. And in a way, the company, Stern, gave you that opportunity because you have so many of these Playfields out there in the world that you could just transfer all these mechs that are worth, a couple $100 and take that time and energy and put them into this game. But okay, so I will tell you how I usually take these games off and bring them back to life. So right here from the start, I got, the same slits here, just as these games. So I know I'm going to take these drop target mechs off. And I know that these are here, so that, boom, that checks something off in my list of things that I need to put on this game. Then, okay, what's this? I have a 6-bank drop target, and so I'm going to take that, maybe set it off to the side, and maybe have that for sale, or maybe for a different game if you decide, hey, I'm going to move forward in this. Because parts are great to keep a hold of, because I'll have 10 different mechanisms, and one will break, and then you just have one that you can swap right back in. So don't ever sell your parts or get rid of anything, because you never know what you're going to get. So then I look here, okay, what is this? These are the same as these, so these are slingshots when they kick them back and forth, so I'm going to take these off and transfer them right over after cleaning, And then these flippers, you can save the coils, obviously, and you got an extra one here that you could take off. But those two coils, but after doing it for so long, you know that these mechs are not the same mechs as the Stargazer mechs, so you just want to buy brand new at that point. And then obviously when you go and take these drop targets off, everything usually just gets cleaned with, an ultrasonic cleaner, or maybe, you put the sand in, the vibrator tumbler. And then what do we need else? So we could think about the switches. And what switches? I'm talking about these little slits here. I guess that's it on that game. A couple things here with this star post, when this drops, when this extends, when the ball turns and goes, there needs to be a switch here and here, as well as here. You got your switches here for your slingshots as well. What else? We got a switch here for the pop bumper switches here. You got some different stand-up targets here that you could, for these switches, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I know after working on games for so long that this is a pop bumper switch right here. This is a pop bumper switch. So right there and there, I can take this and set that aside. Same with this one right here. So I can take this switch and I'll set that aside because this scoop and this is a pop bumper switch. And after so many times of you doing that, you know that these are switches. Same with this one here. So now I have 3 switches that I could set aside. Then I need the coils for the pop bumper. So I'm going to take this coil off. I have, the mechanism. So I'm just setting things aside, maybe putting them in bags so you can write them in, say, top, drop target, and go slow with everything too, because if you're trying to do this for the first time, I know I'm going a little advanced, but I'm trying to break it down in a way that someone that's trying to get right into the game and the business, they have a good, slow time, yet it's easy for them just to jump in, because it's kind of hard to jump in if you think about it, because you're like, man, there's a lot that goes into these games. What if a switch goes wrong? But in reality, it's just after so many times of you doing this, you're just like, okay, I'm going to take a switch adjuster tool and just bend the switch and boom, we fixed it. So there's a lot of times where you think that it's such a big deal that there's an issue with the game, but in reality, you just have to break it down and take your time. So where else are we at? So I talked about those switches. So these stand-up targets, these stand-up switches, which on this one, we only have one here, which is this. it's kind of this yellow switch. So for when I work on this game, I have a bunch of switches, but if you ever have the chance and you're thinking of like, man, what are some games that, you know, are that you would find like maybe at someone's barn or basement or something that has worked on games for many years, you might find a Silver Ball Mania. Let's think about that, because they made so many games by Bally for Silver Ball Mania. Silver Ball Mania's got like about 12 different stand-up targets that you can take apart and pretty much for free, because Silver Ball Mania playfields are what, like maybe 100, 150 bucks, and the amount of parts and the coils, and you think, and you're like, man, okay, now I got 3 pop bumpers, and I got 2 slingshots, and I got an out-hole kicker that kicks the ball into play. We didn't even talk about that. We got this out-hole kicker. It's actually right here. It's all the way at the bottom that will kick the ball into play. Same as this. The mechanisms here, right here, go in the same spot just as here. And is there dimples on this playfield on the front? Yeah, so there are already dimples on these playfields when you go to buy one. Sometimes there isn't, sometimes there is, but you'll see these small little holes. I don't know if you guys want to pass it around, but okay. So, and then when you flip over, there's also dimples on here. So the company that made these playfields gave you, you know, the outline, but it's not always like 100%. So don't always like, you know, take it for, you always have to measure it, make sure the drop targets are lined up and everything. All right, so, what else? Okay, I have a spinner here, so I'm gonna take this spinner off, set that aside, because I need 2 more too. Oh, by the way, Silver Ball Mania's got 2 spinners on them, so you can take that as well. Really, I should have maybe brought a Silver Ball Mania too, but, so, I have everything set aside. Everything's off, maybe this metal piece, maybe these, keep your parts. Maybe if you're like, man, I'm going to the next show or something, I might post on Facebook, hey, I got a plastic set and a clear coated playfield for meteor. I'm gonna sell it for, you know, $200-300 bucks. Maybe I'll get a buyer because somebody else wants to take a playfield and swap theirs for a better one. So you're still just passing all the resources along to everybody else, and it just, you know, it makes the world go round. So now, what we got, the next part is what would I want to do for the first steps here now. Everything's bagged up, ready to go right here. Now how do I start this? So what I do is I have these, and these are called the obstacles. I think they're on the Marco website. Yeah. And then David Yap make these, and I use these on every single stern that's out there. The 7 sterns that are out there use every single one of these. So what you can do here is, let's just take one of these, and you see this, there's like a dimple holes here. I'll just line it up and screw it in, and boom, and that's just done. So I'll do that to every single one of these. That's the first step. Then the next step is I have this braid wire that I actually bought on Amazon. It's like maybe for 20 bucks or something like this. And so I will take my soldering iron. If you know how to solder, obviously, like, you have to know how to solder. You kind of have to know how to, like, how this stuff works when going into this. If you, like, you have to know how to solder with this, obviously. But so then you'll take, you know, your braid wire, and you go individually. Maybe you need like a hammer or something heavy to hold it down, so then you can solder it down, and then you go on to the next thing. And I'm soldering, and then I clip this off, and I go on to the next one. You know, it's very simple. I'm just trying to break this down. And then the next part, is this wire that I get from WireBot. He's in Wisconsin, and I have wire here, and then I get like by the 100 feet, and you kind of need maybe, you know, $70 worth of long wire, because you need to pretty much match the length of this wire, and if you're off by a little, it kind of just makes the wire loom very short. And you got this wire, it's this length, so what is that, maybe like a playfield and a half of wire, so you're going to have a lot of wire. but I am not that particular and I'm a perfectionist to take this wire and go and look at the manual and see that this wire for this light is white and red. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take my wire and go individually because I know that I'm looking at the schematic and I'm doing it myself and I'm just taking my time. If you want to be that perfect, you could obviously go by the wire colors, but I kind of just go pretty quick at the, maybe 30 seconds at a time or something like this. Just to, like, again, you're just trying to save your time when you're doing this because it does take a while. And then, so like I said, you'll look in the manual and you'll say that, okay, this light that has the obstacle on it is going to go from J2 connector or something like this, J2 3. Well, these connections that are on here, and some should be on here, but I already taken off, these transfer, every single one of these connectors that's on here, save these because they transfer over to the wire harness that's on here. And you can take, I don't know, like a paper clip and punch it and then pull out just to save these. You don't have to buy new unless it's burn or something like this. And then, and I know that J2 on the lamp board, because we're dealing with the lights first, which is going to be in the bottom left-hand corner of our stern. In the back box, the light board's in the top, bottom left, power board top right, MPU top left. And so let's just say this is J2. And how do I know? I look at the light board and it shows that J2's on this side or something like this. And so I'll know that it's plugged in like this. J2's plugged in like this, and it'll go 1, 2, 3. And obviously, if you're like me, I forget, and I'll mark a black mark just to know that this is 1. I just want to make sure that it's good. So then I'll go 3, and I'll just continue to do that over and over for that one connector. And so I'll have my wire loom, that's out a Playfield and a half because I need that length to go, a Playfield and a half long. And I'll go all the way out, and I'll have it like something hanging over here, and I'll, do my crimp and then plug it into the connector. And I'll just continue to do that over and over again. So if you like repetition and doing the same thing over and over again, you got about 50 lights that you got to do for this. And going one connector at a time, and then when you're done with that connector, you start zip tying things of that one loom, and then you can have that loom aside, and then you do the next J1, and then the J3. And so then you could maybe imagine all these obstacles on here with wire, but it's one thing that I have done that my dad actually, shout out Dad, that made me a 3D printed tower that, how, let's look at these. You got these looms here that go through the wire, that hold the wire together. Well, I used this before on a game and it didn't really work out that best. So we found a tower online that you can like place down on and then you can wire through. And that creates a pattern if you have, 20 of these on here that don't weigh that much because every game here, this game's really heavy when I was pulling it out, and the same things for stargazers. You don't want to add weight to it, but these are super useful to keep that wire loom intact and hold it together. That's the one thing that I started my first stargazer with was wire management because I didn't have that ability or these towers to be organized, because being organized means that you're time efficient. So then I have the lights down with all the wires, with the towers. So that gives me a really good base and a good skeleton to work with. So then all of my bags are cleaned. I took them all apart, reassembled them, kind of like, a train set or something like this, and you just put it all together, and then you start just taking all these pieces and just lining them up in place. And one thing that I did need to mention was having all of these lights in place, but we need to figure out some of these lights, that these are the general illumination lights. And then you have to take these general illumination lights that go all the way around, as a guide as well when the game's on. when I didn't have the Stargazer Playfield to work with as a guide already, you just get pics from online, you know, that shows you, hey, where are these general illumination lights? And then you can either take them off or you can buy new, like on Marco for the GI lights, that's what they're called. And, you know, you put them wherever these holes are or wherever you think the guide is that you're looking at for the pictures as well, because pictures are definitely useful. And then you can have them here, you know, here, if I recall, a couple here, maybe here. You take a stapler gun, you staple them in place. As you see, there's a red and white wire here, so you'll have to know that, hey, there's something going on here. If there's two wires, it means they're daisy chained together, so you're going from one wire to the next over and over. And then that'll end with a red and white wire that'll lead to another connector, which will be this one. And so you'll have your red and white wire, and then this other wire that's on this one connector is blue and white, which tells me that it's the grounding from all the feature lamps. So once I have all of this, you know, daisy chained together with the obstacles and everything's grounded, when you have this around, and then you have the light bulb soldered to that wire going to the connector. So you have this connection and the other connection. This is then attached to this connector, or this wire, which is the blue and white. And then I believe the blue is for your coils at the end, but we'll get to that. So then we have our general illumination, our feature lamps, and we start placing and maybe screwing in things. Our slingshots are together, our flippers are together, are all placed on. And you start screwing in things. And you're like, wow, look at what I've done. And look at what I've accomplished. And doing it over and over again. And you're like, wow, this is really something. And you can do it too, because I just explained it in maybe, I don't know how long, 15 minutes. But you obviously should take your time over the course of 2 or 3 months, which has happened for me. But if you're that kind of person that likes, like I said, to do things repetition over and over again, because we're all pinball players and we play pinball over and over and over again, that doing, you know, wires and just being able to and feel comfortable doing it over and over again, like having that confidence to do this gives you that ability. Because if you're, okay, I don't want to like get like weird in a sense, but if you have like a Xenon or say like I said, a Silver Ball Mania, you can turn that game into something else that's way more expensive. If I have a CPR, so I don't know if you guys know like CPR, they make Playfields, and there's this Playfield that is called Voltan Escapes Cosmic Doom. And they have all spinner, so Voltan has 2 spinners, 3 pop bumpers, 2 slingshots, 2 flippers, 1 kicker, and it has pretty much everything that a Silver Ball Mania has. So if you know how to do a step of this, you can take your Silver Ball Mania and convert into a Voltan Escapes Cosmic Doom by just having the wire, maybe the lights to redo it, the posts, the skeleton to have, because you can take all of those different items and place it on that game. There's many different other games that you could do that, but those are the 2 that come to mind because Silver Ball Manias, you know, are at the bottom of the end for Bally's, but Voltan's pretty expensive on the higher up. There's something I missed, or are there questions? Yeah.
Does that decrease the value of the game when you transfer parts from one to another, like from a purist perspective?
Well, I think that just comes down to opinion. In someone's head, they think that, you know, needs to be the same age and the same, you know, I don't know, I'm not in that sense. I don't have that sense about it, because I want to turn all these drop targets, because these drop targets that were 40 years old are the same 40-year-old drop targets that would be on a Stargazer that was already out of the factory, because they reused all of these different targets. So if you make more games for the world to use, because I bet you there's X amount of Stargazers that are still in barns or something like this, and that probably has equaled the X amount of games that people have created a Stargazer for. So, and those might be in a barn forever, who knows? What other questions?
So basically, you're taking a game, taking all the components off, cleaning them, rewiring them. So basically, any barn find with your process can be a viable game.
Yeah, as long as you know what mechanisms are on that game. If I found a meteor in a barn, I know in my head I'm going to buy or try to seek out a Stargazer, because every time I find a project game like that, it's going to cost me $1,000 to, let's say, buy. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. I walk into the barn, he gives me this meteor for $1,000. Okay, now I got $1,000. Takes me, I'll tell you some prices maybe, and break that down. The Playfield was maybe 700, or let's just say, yeah, 750. And so I'm at 1750. Takes me wire, $100, Yopsicles, I don't know, like $70. What is that? Like almost $2,000. What else do I need? I need stencils probably, and maybe spray paint for the stencils if you want to get that far. Or you could just leave the artwork if you're not that kind of, if you don't really like make the game, like paint it or something, you could just do the different wire and have the Playfield and not do the paint. I mean, I've seen someone do that before. Actually, it saves you time, a lot of time actually, because there's a lot that goes into doing stencils, but I don't want to get into that. And your question was a barn find game.
So basically, your concept, the way you do it, any game could be
Yes.
brought to life.
Yes. In your budget, it's probably about $200 to $2,500 every time. Just trying to break it down. And if you think about that, you're going to sell your meteor for $2,000, let's say, and make $1,000, or you're going to turn your Stargazer, or you're going to turn your meteor into a Stargazer. That Stargazer is going to be worth $7,000, $8,000. And then your mind, your asset value that you just did, and your brain and the work that you just did was plus $4,500.
So if you were to keep the game and you had a
Keep
whole
them-
game like that,
Mhm.
safety tells me that rewiring and doing all that, cleaning, stuff like that, is gonna provide a much, basically less problems down the road just because you redid it.
Yeah, you're cleaning 40 years of dirt and grime that's been on these drop targets, that's been on the slingshots, flippers. You're buying things new still, but you're just cleaning the things that can be cleaned, and when they're clean, they look, they feel, they act brand new, you know, unless you see wear on stuff. But that's not really the case for drop targets, because they're getting energized every single time. They're meant to be used over and over again, just like flippers. But like I said, you're buying brand new flippers, obviously, because you need flippers for this stuff to be good. You know, it all comes down to the flippers. But all right, what else? Yeah.
Yeah, what resources do you use to see which games are similar? Like, so you mentioned Meteor, Stargazer, you mentioned Silverbolt.
Yeah, there's pictures online that you can just do your research of, hey, how many, okay, there's IPDB.org, that website. It has a database of the person, Mike Pasek, he's awesome, and hopefully he shows up. He has so many pictures, and his compendium has been on there for so long, and that's my guide that I use to use those pictures online. The manuals are also online for Stearns, unlike other manufacturers, and that has really helped me in so many ways, because you need a reference to some of this stuff, because when you're looking at that J2 connection with the wire, I'm then looking at this to find the J2 connection -3, and then you can make a copy. I usually highlight it just to get it out of the way, and then going down the list. And having that guide is really good. I think I stopped about like other things about wiring coils and things. If I can like jump back into that if you want me to. That just came in my head. So these coils that I didn't talk about should all be wired also. Every single coil, these pop bumpers, these drop targets, they're all wired to another section, which is the top right-hand corner, which is the power board. And these thick ones get plugged into the top right-hand power board, and your big J2, J1 connectors get plugged into the light board. And then you'll have like this smaller one that's probably unpinned right here. What goes into your MPU. And your MPU is for your switches. So in your manual, maybe I should have brought a manual, but it is hard to see because it's so far away. But the manual will have your switches. Once you have all your switches in place, and it'll show a grid, and it'll go columns, and then rows. Thank you. You'll go column and rows, and it'll be also, you can see all of these switches here if you want. Like when we leave, you can come up and look, and we can have these all daisy chained together. And you'll see on the columns and rows that they all need to be daisy chained together. And it doesn't matter how it is. It doesn't have to go from, here to there. If you know that in that row, it goes from here to there, you can just daisy chain things. That's something that I learned too, that it doesn't always have to be, following the schematics. As long as it's on that row or column, you can just daisy chain what's close. And then you're always finding, but your guides are here already too, so once you're switching, once you're daisy chaining these things, you're just following your path. And you're daisy chaining and following your path over here. And again, like a lot of these things, once you cut off, the switches are already on the drop targets. So as long as you just clean those and install those, then it's time to, like, what's cool about these is like it just all comes off at one thing. These switches, you don't even really have to just take them off. They're just always added here. So you can just continue to work on them and daisy chain and clean them, because like I said, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible with the time that I have while working on these. And so we talked about the daisy chaining of switches. We talked about the big connector for the solenoids, that you wire up one side of the solenoid, and then that other side of the solenoid, which is going to be the white side of the diode. Okay, I'm getting kind of technical, but when I talk about this stuff, like it's almost like you have to know what I'm talking about. I can't, break down what a diode is or something like this, but I could, because the white is the banded side, and you have to know that the banded side goes with the daisy chained yellow power wire that goes to each individual coil. So I'll have all my coils here, and you'll see on this that there's a yellow wire here that goes to every single coil, and that I'll have to do the same. And then you'll see that it'll be like yellow just like this, and that will go to the fuse holder here, which will be, I'll take that fuse holder off as well and put it here as long as it's nice, it looks good, which it does. And I'll put a 1 amp fuse in there, and that yellow goes to the coils. It doesn't go to any of this. It goes to the fuse, which then these other, there's this a blue wire, goes to your flippers, and then it goes to your connector, which is that other one that I didn't talk about, this blue one here. It's on the last one here. And you know how this is separated off. You're going to have to do the same thing, because there's a rectifier board in the bottom of the game, obviously, and this plugs into that. And then the other two connectors plug into the cabinet and the back box, like you already know that. So, what else? Yeah.
All right, so you swapped out the Playfield, so now you turned your meteor into a stargazer. But the rules of the games are different, right?
Uh-huh.
So you still need a stargazer, ROM or like?
Let's say that, that's a good question. That meteor back box has that MPU in it, and that battery exploded. So you know that MPU's already trash. So you go to Marco, but I go to Weebly's website and I buy an MPU there because I know that the Sterns that he makes have free play on them. So, but other MPUs don't have free play, and I want my games free play on this floor, so I buy those. So I buy there, and that MPU has all different combinations of the Bally's and the Sterns of that era, so you can adjust your ROMs by just a dip switch to the game's
Oh, that's cool.
come on, Don.
Whatever, yeah.
Come on.
The game that you're building.
Don's back there. But yeah, the combination of the game's dip switch selection, you can just, so I'll take a Stargazer that I have out on the floor, and I can take that and put it in a Quicksilver out on the floor with the dip switch ROMs, and it'll boot, because it has that memory that's already on that board. And you know, it's about 180, so add that to your bill. So you're at maybe like 2,200, like I said, 2 to 2,500 is your base value. As long as you're in there, your time's worth 4,500 for this game. If you can put one together, you're plus 4,500. If you want to go even deeper, you can make that game, you know, worth a lot more if you get things chromed or get things, you know. But that's more advanced if you decide that you want, hey, I want perfection for everything versus just the playfield. Because I'm trying to be perfect on my playfields. But if my cabinets are, you know, a little funky, couple smudges here, you know, whatever. My playfields are what I'm looking for, you know, because that's what you're looking at. Make sure your flippers are good and everything flows the way it's supposed to be if your flippers are good. And nice playfield shows everything about a character. But okay, what else? Any more questions? Yeah, man. Keep going.
The Stargazer Playfield, does that come with all the inserts and everything also?
Yep, so it comes with the inserts. If you want to go the Clearcoat route, which I will be going, some guy sent it off. He takes automotive Clearcoat and sprays the whole thing to really get that shine, like the one on Meteor here. And it'll look very similar to this. The Stargazer that's out on the floor is also clear-coated, I think. Every game, you're waiting a couple months, but by that time, you're waiting the couple months while you're taking down your parts, while you're putting parts in bags, while you're cleaning stuff. So while you're waiting for this game, for this playfield to get shiny and cleared and having that person do all the work, you're doing the actual work by taking everything apart and having things ready to go before it happens. Like I said, save your time. Time management is the hugest thing for this. Because if you have an addiction like I do, I have 8 projects, and I need as much time as I can with this shit, so. Okay, what now? Yes?
So, your Stargazer on the floor, did you do that to that one, or
Did I do what to?
did you swap over parts? Or
Everything, yep. A Meteor, I took a Meteor and I swapped everything over. Yep.
Any other ones, or just that one?
Okay, so I had other playfields like a Trident. That's a Stern Trident. It beat to shit and it was populated. And I have a Cheetah. That's a 5-bank drop target that has memory bank drop targets, which is similar to Meteor. So when they're memory, so if you drop them on ball 2, it'll start your ball already down. So I had a 5-bank there, and I was like, I think I have enough parts to do everything else. So I just bought the playfield and we went. I got lucky at PinFest. I found a big game project as well, so I knew that helped me out too with the Cheetah as well, because I needed a cabinet. So I did that, and I took all the parts over. And you know, big game's worth $2,500 again, and Cheetah's worth double that. So, and if the game's already broke, you're just reborning it into something else. It's a game no matter what, right? So you're just. What's that?
We're not judging you.
Yeah. Is it a sacred thing you're crossing over to? I don't know. But is it the way people wanted to? Maybe the people at Stern were like, we're gonna, like I said, 10,000 of these Meteors or whatever, a lot of that shit. And they only made a small amount of these games, don't know why. But now it's like our job to make more and spread them to the world.
I
I've also seen firsthand him take, like, cabinets that were bare and no one would ever use, they'd go to the dump, and he would come back totally alive and use them in, in some aspects.
Yeah, so I can take that cabinet portion. So you have a cabinet. I don't have a cabinet here. It's kind of hard to explain, but like, so in that cabinet you have everything that you need for the Stargazer, except painting the game. You have the wire harness on the corner that goes into the tilt. You got all that tilt mech. You got your coin door, all those switches, all those coin parts, everything that's in there. The speaker, the rectifier board, if you want to switch that out, it's only $30. Rectifier board's the heart and pretty much soul of everything else that powers the whole game. So if that's bad, it's going to make everything else bad. So you really want to, like if you're good at soldering, there's a do-it-yourself kit for $30, like I said. And I buy that for every single one of the sterns that I do. And every connector that's inside of the cabinet and the head is the same connectors for a Meteor than it is for a Stargazer, than it is for other sterns. I mean, I'm just going these two, but then, there's connectors that go into the cabinet that go up into the head that get plugged into the MPU and the power board. And then all of the digits, all of the displays. Actually, this is a 6-digit display versus a 7. But if you're going to buy something new, you could buy Wolfpack displays, which also is a do-it-yourself kit for the displays. And, maybe that's $150. So that adds into your $2,500 thing. I don't know if someone's keeping track. I don't know how much we're at, but we should be at around $2,500 still. So, let's see. Different boards, nope, they're all the same. Soundboard is the same also, and same connectors from a Meteor to a Stargazer is the same. So you're pretty much just having things plugged in, replacing that MPU that we talked about. And, if you're good at repairing some of the boards, you can add like your different jumpers to the voltages to give you voltages for the power board, so that you have like constant voltage. It's kind of almost about it of how things are all the same. All the connectors that go into the MPU that are not here, that are in the head, like I said, are all plugged in the same spots from a Meteor to a Stargazer. It's almost like you could go out to someone's barn or something, or find just a Project Silverball Mania on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, whatever, and just have that in your back pocket and play it for the time being if you can get it working. But then always have that idea of, man, maybe I can make this game into a $7,000 game or change it, and then I have my hard work into the game. Now that I know in my brain that's a $7,000 game versus, a $15,000 or $2,000 game like Silverball Mania with another thing. Those are the best examples, like I said. I don't know, I think maybe I'm starting to say the same thing over and over again, but you kind of need your back glass. But if you think about it, if you sold your plastics and your Playfield that's already clear coated for this at a show, you also have the back glass for a Meteor that may be good. You could sell that for maybe $50, $100 or something. So the money that you're selling for the game that you already bought goes back into this. So really, you're maybe spending, like I said, $2,500, but only spending $2,000 of your money, but maybe less. I don't know what else. Yeah.
You mentioned too, where do we find the neglected, needed, broken pinballs?
Shows. I don't think here, but there's a spot in Pennsylvania that have shows. It's called PinFest, and I'm sure there's other shows. There's Expo coming up. I bet you there might be a couple of games that someone brings that are folded up, and you just got to know what you're looking at by the artwork. and you're looking at a game and you're like, oh man, is the price tag? And you're like, man, right here. Or, and then just bring cash, I guess, with you. But Expo's coming up in October, and then you have other things too. But let's see what.
eBay marketplaces are a lot out there, or
If you look sometimes, I mean, I got my Flash Gordon on eBay right before COVID, but COVID blew everything up, as we know. Like, even pinball, everyone, once they're at home arcade, everyone's gobbling up all these different games that might be, but then now we're in that after COVID area where people are starting to list more and more games on Facebook Marketplace, as well as eBay, and maybe they're a little bit above or what they bought, and the market's coming back down a little. Like I said, you know, if someone's buying games, you just have to watch out and see what the market is, because stuff fluctuates, you know. Nothing's going to always be, you know, Stargazer could be a $7,000 game, but in a year or two, if no one's around, you know, 5, 4, 3, it could come back down, but who knows? But usually the ones that have been created the most, though, like the meteors, come back down. So if you see something listed for like, let's say a meteor for $2,000, that might come back down in a couple months or the beginning, sometime, you know, and you're just waiting, or because those are the kinds of games that have been created the most that will be lower amount, you know. So maybe Stargazer will stay at.
so if you
A lot of
were,
money.
if you were absolutely new wanting to fix the most simple game there is.
Like create a new one?
Well, just
or-
repair, create, clean, what would be the simplest pinballs to grab?
Solid states. Like I said, Silver Ball Mania is extremely easy because the mechanisms are on there, have the pop bumpers and the slingshots, and those are usually just the main ones that you see on every single bally or stern. That would probably be one of the easiest ones to tinker with, and then also, turn it into something else, you know. Because like I said, that Volton Escapes Cosmic Doom is a lot of money versus, and it's a prime opportunity to do that when you have the chance. So it's on my list to do still because it's that simple. Other games like these drop targets, Volton doesn't have that, but it's the same amount. So if you want, maybe you could just start spitting those out because it's very simple because the mechanisms on there, because more mechanisms, more switches to wire, more diodes, more things to wire, and more things to add. You know, if a game's really basic, but it's this more pricey, maybe it's easier to make that then, you know. But many different options out there for you to do. Yeah, what's up?
How much time from start to finish does it take you to do one of these?
For me,
Yeah,
3 months. But
so it'll be like 6 to 10 for everyone else?
I work from, maybe longer. I work from home, so I do some other stuff and, you know, do other things, but yes, I work fast too. I have a sleep schedule that's pretty light, but yes. But the heart and soul goes into the game.
Yeah.
You know, I'm soulless. But, you know, it goes into the games. But I saw a hand back there. Are you leaving?
Yeah, are Valley William, I mean, the Valley and the Stern, Classic Sterns are the only games you do, or you do other classic games?
I try
I know
just
the
to
answer.
stick with the Bally's and Sterns because that's how much I can close my eyes and just tell you, rattle off shit, you know. But the Bally's and Sterns, like I said, are interchangeable because all the board sets, the back box has the same top left MPU, top right power board.
The Cosmic Gunfight, that's what I'm trying to get.
Oh, good. That's a different manufacturer.
I know, but you can do those too.
Yeah, I could do Williams. I've been doing Williams. I'm starting to dabble into that. So I have a Warlock that I'm going to wire up and a Time Fantasy, and then I just got a Cosmic Gunfight that I'm going to wire up. So I'm looking for a Black Knight. Because if you think Cosmic Gunfight has 3 drop target banks, what's that? Yeah, I think that's sold already. Yeah. It's sad. Well, I'm looking for a beat up one. Why take one but, you know, that's not beat up, is it? But a beat up games is what you're kind of looking for, though, because it's cheap. right? Maybe I overpaid for that a little, who cares? I still have one, but then I can take all that and sell it back. So in your mind, you're like, okay, maybe if I sold that for $300, then I made out a little more, you know? You just have to think in your mind, hey, there's some resale value of the game. I'm just ripping apart, because I have leftover pieces, and those leftover pieces other people want. You just got to reach out and post, or pin size is pretty good too. Yeah, the spinners are good too. I mean, you can buy spinners on Marco. They have, I think, spinner sets that aren't exactly like these, I don't think, or they might be,
Yeah, some
yes or no. You
on the era.
can find almost very close to this and attach it on, as long as it's in the same spot, the same length, same spin. It's all the same. I mean, if you're thinking about a purist, then it wouldn't be exactly right, but it still works. It still spins. It still awards me a bunch of points.
So David Yop in the chat asked, can you, or if you have an unpopulated playfield that has printed vinyl overlay on it, how are the graphics applied?
So you're talking about overlay and not a hard top. Has anyone done a hard top here? Okay, so no one's, maybe. All right. Well, an overlay, let's say this playfield was completely bare and it had just wood. And so I have an artwork like on a sheet of paper on a piece of vinyl, and you're pretty much just doing it. If anyone's ever done a stencil kit before or anything like this, it's kind of the same way, where you're laying it down, peeling it, and just using a thing and just pushing this down while you're pulling this out, and you're just trying to lay it down. But then it comes to the time where you're putting clear coat on. But that's really like advanced, in my opinion. Like, this is awesome because I didn't have to do that part.
Yeah,
This
what
is
is
already
this
printed.
printed on?
I don't know.
Printed directly on
Yeah,
it?
printed right directly on the playfield. I know that for sure. I don't know
Yeah,
how
that's
it's
great.
printed. Maybe it goes back and forth and it scans some stuff. I don't know. There's some like lines or something like this, but I'm not a purist. All the Stargazers, I bet you, that they made now probably have imperfections all over them too. But it's a brand new game. But at the same time, I mean, once it's clear coated, it looks fantastic, and all the lights are over it, and it's brand new. You feel good about it. You feel good playing it. All right, what else we got? Anyone's like grandma, aunt, uncle, distant relatives, reach out to them and be like, hey, any of your people got a pinball machine, or any of your friends with hey, I'm looking for a pinball machine. And then their friends reach out to their friends, and their friends reach out and just say, hey, continue the trend, and try to just spread that route out to people, to outreach, just try to find more pinball machines. Because really, I was at a tool shop, and some guy's like, hey, I was just talking to him about trying to find screws for a pinball machine. He goes, pinball machine, huh? I got a roller coaster tycoon. And I'm like, oh, what? And he's just sitting in the bowling alley, and I just take it, and I obviously make a transaction with him, but it just a matter of just talking about pinball, and who knows, maybe someone's got one that all of a sudden that sparks their mind or something like this, because you're trying to save the games that are in someone's basement that haven't been turned on in 30 years. Because that's what I like to see, when someone takes a game out of something and brings it back to life. Or turns something that's out of the barn and turns it into something new, or something even better than what it was before. I've only been doing this for like 2.5 years, so I'm always learning, but YouTube videos are helpful. There's a lot of people that have explained what I just did, and what I'm explaining in a way better way, and breaks it probably even down to even more, because I'm just trying to go through everything. And I'm sure there's hours and hours of videos of someone doing the same stuff as I'm talking about now. So before you go to bed tonight or something, if you're that interested in it, just take your time and just fall asleep to it or something, and just be like, and wake up in the morning and want to play pinball, because that's what you're here to do, right? So I don't know.
What has been your all-time favorite project that you've worked on?
All
Your biggest-
time?
Yeah, your favorite like accomplishment.
Probably the Stargazer, because it was almost like a challenge to do it when, you know, there was something was like, hey, like, you probably can't do this, or you can't do this at all. So like, why even try? And then I tried, and it worked out. You just have to try and maybe believe a little that you can do it, because it's like, man, like, I don't want to jump into it, but if you think about it, like, you're already playing a pinball machine, you're going to arcades, you're playing pinball, you're spending money on pinball. If you got the Christmas money or something to do it this year or next year or whatever, like, try to find one, just have the cash ready to go and look on Facebook Marketplace or something, and when the time's right, just give them a message and see, like, I think I can take this, but I can take this and turn it into something else. But you have to do your research and understand that, you know, I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow through, because if I stop in the middle, then I don't have a game either way. So you have to fully commit. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, okay, I have to stop in the middle. I mean, you're more than welcome to and take breaks and things like this. It's good. Don't get burned out. But you just have to tell your mind, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to commit to it, because in the long run, you're going to feel great about doing it when you turn it on and it turns on for the first time. And it boots up and you're like, oh my God. And then you press the button and you start flipping and the flippers work and you're like, okay, I wired that up correctly. And you take the ball and you're hitting the slingshots and they're all working, everything's reset and everything's scoring. And you're like, wow, couple lights out, who cares? The game's playing. But that's me.
In the chat, what are your background in or training in electronics?
I have a degree for computer science, but that was coding. But I was always like a hands-on kind of, I didn't want to like type and code and stuff like this. But then I've been playing for 10 years. But electronics, like during COVID, I just learned a couple things with a buddy of mine, and then I just started watching YouTube videos, and then I bought a game, and then I opened up the game and I started looking at everything, and I'm like, oh, what does this do? And if you have a game already, you need to understand to troubleshoot, because stuff, you know, stuff breaks. It doesn't always last when you do things. And whenever you replace something, it needs, you know, like a pop bumper or something, you need to know how to replace that, or something like this. You know, rubber brakes, you need to know how to take the glass off and things like this, obviously. But these are all like, you know, like things in my mind that you should already know if you are a pinball owner. So, was there other questions for Chad or something?
Not yet. Are you related to the 3D printer maker, Prusa 3D?
Oh, I might be. I thought that'd be funny.
I was
That's
about
funny.
to say, I don't think so, but
Yeah.
might be.
The Stargazer out there was my first that I ever did that I wired up, and then I have a Quicksilver out there that I wired up, and then I have a Cheetah out there that I wired up, and then I have a 9-ball that's also out there, and they're all on the same row. So I want you to go out and play it, and hopefully nothing breaks. But everything that I did like out there is wired up to that I took every single wire underneath that Playfield. All of this that's underneath here, I wired it all up myself, and it should be good, because once you do it after the second or third time, because once they keep, it's an addiction once you get there and you continue. I hope one day all of you actually will come up and be like, wow, I just wired it up and I turned it on and it worked. I can't believe it, I'm playing it, I'm flipping it. I want like all of you guys to do that, because the feeling just like, it's unlike any other, because you did something and you accomplished it, and that's what we need to do here. We need to accomplish when we set something up, because if you do it halfway, you know, you get nowhere, right? We got to do it. But yeah, I'm out of. I don't know, is there other people, maybe Marvin, or is he here? still?
Look here.
Hey, thanks.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
Wait, I'm coming down,
I appreciate
I'm coming
you,
down.
dude.
Hey,
Hey, dude, hey, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you coming, dude.
Yep.
Thank you.
I thought so. I heard him say 50 or 100
Way to
bucks
go,
on this
LLC.
strip.
Hi, yes.
Making it official.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Let me know when
seriously.
you're getting rid of just the Playfield.
Yeah,
For
dude.
$50 to $100, like you said.
Yeah, dude.
Strip it out. It's better than mine.
See?
Do you have the guy who's coming tomorrow? With the clear coating guy? Is that-
Yep, he's dropping off. Yeah, I'm gonna give this to him. And he's dropping off my warlock and a rolling stones that I got.
Pinball machine,
Concern over the highway,
barn,
to make sure that you
somewhere,
take that out.
you can
And
see
so, you know,
it.
Hey, what
Bring it
happens
back
when
to
they
life.
hook the yellow wire to the non-abandoned diode?
Yeah.
Fuse blows or you should put
Thank you so
a,
much.
you should put a,
Samuel in it.
We're going to see
And,
what the next seminar will be.
thanks for coming.
There's a change to those schedules. If you're doing another seminar, it'll be in an hour.
and go down and scream about. But again, our Clearcoat is only as good as what we put over, or what we put on top. Or our Playfields are only good as the Clearcoat is what we put on top. So if it's a bad Playfield, our Clearcoat's gonna be bad as well. Real quick, I'm gonna pass this around. This is what our Clearcoat looks like after it's been activated. That's about 3 weeks old. That's clear. Yeah. Crystal clear. Now, the cheaper clear coats, and there's a big difference, I'll show you here in a minute, is the difference between that bottle there contracting about 1/4 of an inch all the way around and having liquid at the bottom, which is water. You take that out of the container, it's almost like a Super Bowl. That's how good it is. And that's premium clear coat. If you were to wreck your brand new 2023 Lexus, that's what we would use on the front end of your car. You smell it?
Yeah.
Really?
It's great.
Yeah, I smell it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. That's the problem. I don't anymore. And that's about a week old.
It's flexible too, then, it's still, it's made to flex.
Yes. The new clear coats are pre-flexed. You don't put flex additive in them. They're water clear, which means if you look down through the gallon of clear, they're clear all the way through. The cheaper clears aren't. They have like an amber color, where that one doesn't.
So this is a non-yellow clear too, right?
Oh, it will not yellow. Period. End of discussion. Your cheap clear will. Now, the difference between the cheap clear and the expensive clear. Now, this is what I pay for a gallon of clear unactivated. It's 3 to 15%, so I get about maybe 5.5 sprayable quarts per gallon. I highlighted to the right side what I pay for a gallon of clear.
What brand is it?
That's Martin Senior, but Sherwin-Williams, same thing. PPG, Ditzler, DuPont, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
How's COVID affected that price?
It was going up before then. It may affect a little bit, but not much.
How much does a Playfield use?
Sprayable about per, now, people say, I'm gonna put 5 coats of clear on your Playfield. Well, that's a misnomer. Well, how much is 5 coats? Do I spray a double wet coat, a triple wet coat? I'm gonna say, a better explanation is applications. All right, I'm gonna put 4 applications on your Playfield. That may mean 2 coats or 3 coats, depending on how you spray it. That will probably get you, that paint there, clear will probably get you about
1 ounce, 2 ounce per coat?
I'm gonna say 8 ounces per Playfield. Yeah, 8 ounces. and you try to keep it down to a minimum, keep this overspray down so it doesn't go up in the air and fly away. But that's about what it takes to do it quicker. Now, it's all relevant. If I'm going to do your brand new CPR Playfield, I'm going to use a premium clear. There's several layers of clear. O'Reilly's Auto Parts. They sell Clearcoat 4-to-1-1 for $100 a pack or kit. Gallon of clear, quarter hardener, quarter reducer. You get what you pay for. Two coats of that clear is literally worth one coat of my clear, the premium clear. That's all relevant. I brought some Playfields here. I don't know if you guys can. This is a Elvira that was new in the box. You guys
Want to use my stool and stand it on it?
Yeah. When we're done, you can take a look at it. This is one coat away from being completed. I brought this in, the guy wasn't happy with it, so we scuffed it, not sanded it, we scuffed it, cleared it, walked away from it for 2 weeks, and then put 2 coats of clear on it, walked away from it for 2 weeks, sanded it, not scuffed it, and then this is the 3rd coat of clear right here. There's going to be one more after this. If you get a chance when we're done, feel free to take a look at it. But the graining, the wood graining you see on Playfields, there's nothing, absolutely nothing that Clearcoat can do to prevent that. That's the wood expanding, contraction, breathing. There's nothing you can do about that. Now, this Playfield here, this is the last coat, and you'll see if you get a chance when you walk up to the front here after the seminar. That's what it looks like sanded before the last coat of clear. We sand it with about 400 or 500 grit sandpaper, clean it up, tack it off, and clear. Now, I usually tell people if you're doing a new CPR Playfield or a new replacement Playfield, clear coat the back too. I don't know how many of you have had experience with woodwork. They always tell you to seal all 4 corners. Why would you seal the backside as well on a Playfield? I've been in the
Industry.
to where if you clear coat the back with like an aquathane or urethane, I usually use you can't spray it because then you can spray the back of the inserts. That doesn't work. But if you take a brush and just tap it, like a foam brush, and just tap it, you don't brush it because then you roll the clear into the inserts and it turns into a mess. But why wouldn't you do the backside as well as the edges? Other than that, if you plan on having a Playfield clear coat, please, 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 do not try to buff it and save it first. That's the worst thing we can do, because you drive all the contaminants back into the Playfield, into the cracks, into the crevices. So if you've got an old Playfield that you want to save, that you're going to try and buff it out, don't do that. If you're going to clear it or you're not. Because what happens if you buff it out and you put wax on it, it dries all the contaminants into the crevices, and that makes my life, a lot more difficult. Again, I'm not real prepared, so if you have any questions, shoot.
What about paint?
What's that?
What about paint? What's good and what's not good?
If anything is good, just let us know or me know what you have. Because my solvents, when I wipe down a Playfield before I clear coat it, will dissolve touch-up paint, which I learned the hard way. It'll take it right off. If you use latex, fine, no problem. You can clear coat over it. Oil-based is the best, craft paint or oil-based craft paint. But if you don't tell me what it is, I may take it off the Playfield as I'm wiping it down. Yeah. And if you're going to do that, sand it first. That way I don't have to sand the Playfield and sand your artwork or your paintwork off.
So I have a new CPR Playfield that we put on the machine. Are those already cleared when I get those?
Yeah, they are, but they're doing a
You have
good
to grind that down and then redo it?
No. What I would do with that, scuff it down, clear it. What are you looking for? A show or?
No, I just want it not to wear out.
Okay. It won't wear out with the original, but if you want it to be smoother, as the inserts being not raised or sunken, Clearcoat is the best way. If you're going to do that, don't do anything to it. Just give it to me. We scuff it, clear it, scuff it, clear it, or sand it. And you get some leveling going on. In fact, I'm not sure if you can tell it in this one or not. I should have done it the process before, but as you sand, you can see the leveling action on the inserts. How much you can get the evenness on the inserts. And give them credit. I mean, they're doing a production. It's, assembly line. I'm not knocking them, but
I'm
they're.
happy to have it.
What's that?
I'm happy to have it.
Exactly. So, like I said, 15 years ago, we were blown out, scared stiff Playfields and, Attack from Mars Playfields and wood glue and everything else trying to save these things, and now they got these, so I can't complain.
So if you were going to attack something like a 1960s Playfield, is there a slightly different process you'd use on that versus?
Yes, I got involved in some NOS Gottlieb Playfields about 5 years ago. They were found at a warehouse in California, and the guy wanted to save them. And I started, he said, I want them clear coat, I want them flat, because all the inserts had shrunken and cupped. Well, I put my first coat of clear on them, and lo and behold, the solvents from my clear actually made the inserts cut more. Had a hell of a time with these things. So yes, you want to just put a coat of clear on them, let that first coat of clear be a membrane, and then go from there. Ideally replace all the inserts, but then you're talking about artwork, problems around the circles and so forth. But there's a different scenario.
So be very careful with
Yes.
how much you put on that.
And those old Playfields, they threw, if at all, they threw a light coat of clear on them, and that was it. I've taken where I've scuffed a brand new NOS Gottlieb or a Bally Playfield and scuffed it and brought paint up the first time I scuffed it. They claim they put some clear on them, but I don't think so. Gotta remember, back then, if they lasted 5 years on route, done.
Yeah.
Sat in a warehouse and sold to a home use only somewhere. Yeah. Again, dumb questions, come on.
So, again, back with these old Playfields, if you were gonna do touch-up on them, would you do a light clear coat first and then do the touch-up over?
Ideally, yes. You want to put a clear coat on to put your artwork on top of the clear.
Okay.
It's not necessary, but it makes life easier for everybody involved.
I've
Yeah.
read that on a couple forums.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. But if you try to buff it out first, and you're trying to polish it, and you shove the wax down in the cracks and crevices, even the touch-up is difficult after that.
Yeah.
Really difficult.
How about cupped inserts? If you got an old playfield and needs a lot of cupping, what would you suggest the person giving you the playfield does, or if anything, maybe 4 or?
Automotive clear was never meant to fill the volume of a cupped insert. I mean, I'm sure it will work. I've had a couple of instances where I had a catastrophic failure on inserts where I try to fill it. It's been the exception, not the norm. I can't guarantee it. If at all possible, if there's no artwork around it, replace the insert. If not, yeah, you can take a dropper and fill the insert, level it, but that's a lot of clear that if I talk to my paint rep and I complain to him about my Playfield clear coat failing because of this insert, he'll laugh at me. He says, we weren't designed for this. I mean, you're talking sometimes, what, 1/8 of an inch? It just isn't meant for that.
It'd be rubbery anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Even if granted, you want quick failure, put an incandescent bulb back under them, but with LEDs, yeah, it's not so bad.
For ball trough wear, like on the shooter lane
Mhm.
or on the arch, is it better to sand that down as
Yes.
much as possible? Okay.
Yeah, sand it all the way down. That's part of what I do. I take a conical sanding block and sand that down with clear. I can't get rid of the colorization, but you can get it smooth, very smooth. yeah. But when that discolorization, that the darkness is into the grain, there's nothing you can do about it. I don't know how many of you were around, but they made inserts for the shooter lanes at one time in different colors. It didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. It looks nice at one time or another. All right.
What are the things you can do when clear coating that if you do wrong, it's gonna mess up your clear coat forever? Like, you know what I mean? Do's and don'ts.
Don't try to save the playfield beforehand. What happens is, in our business, the new clear coats are low VOC, low surface tension. And there's, you put very little solvent into them. So if you try to save a playfield by buffing it and waxing it, I'm gonna resurrect this thing, doesn't work. I gotta put clear on top of it. That's the biggest problem. And for us to put clear over wax and silicone is very difficult. I may cheat it and get it on there, but there's gonna be little to no adhesion. It just doesn't work.
So how about like you got that still old playfield, but you got how many times of it being waxed throughout the years, you know, how, does that just wear off?
That's not as bad as somebody freshly doing a playfield with a buffer,
Right.
you know, trying to buff it out, and getting the gloss and putting some super silicone paste on it and wax. That's where the problem is. Yeah, that's where the problem is. And on a car level as well. I mean, some of these people that ceramic coat their car and they get it repaired, it's been a problem lately. You just can't get that stuff off of there with any kind of solvents. And on the playfields, you get the crazing and the ball swirls at the solvents and dry if I try to use solvents, it dries the contaminants back into the playfield. It can be a problem.
So if I were to clean a playfield to get the ball swirls out, what would you suggest?
Alcohol, water-based cleaner, nothing solvent-based. Yeah. I've had limited success with the alcohol. They say to use alcohol in a cotton ball or a magic eraser. I never had a lot of success with that. They said it swells the pores up so we get the dirt out. Yeah. Magic
eraser works pretty good, but if you rub too long, you start taking big.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, but have you tried it with the alcohol?
Mhm.
Does it work for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, you won't make any progress without the alcohol.
With the ball swirls?
Yes.
Okay. See, I never
There's
had
a
a lot
fine
of
line
success.
between this is as good as it's gonna get, and I'm taking
Okay.
paint off.
Okay. It
You'll
doesn't.
see it's white, you know, so.
It doesn't eliminate it. It just makes it look better.
Way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah.
I'd say
It probably depends on what kind of
on a
playfield it
perfect
is.
day, 80% better.
Okay. Probably depends on what kind of playfield it is too.
Sure.
What brand.
So I've been doing it wrong the whole time is what he's telling us. I've been using stone or paper towel box and stuff. That with no cleaner stuff.
Okay.
That you can use on.
Well, I'm talking solvent. My solvent is a wax and grease remover. It's pretty powerful. And if you're wiping stuff off with that, I mean, you're driving as much stuff into the cracks and crevices as you're taking off.
Basically melting it. It's really.
Exactly. Exactly.
How do you care for it after it's done?
Nothing. Normal.
Yeah.
How do you store your clear coat when you're not using it? Do you have to fill the containers with nitrogen, or is it?
There's products out there that can shoot, CO2 or nitrogen in the can. I use it so often that I don't worry about that.
Okay, so you're just going through it quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
The majority of it. Okay.
So I've got an area on my playfield that was worn through the wood,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a very thin, what I think is a clear coat that's just flaking off around where the wood is. So where I've started trying to do the touch-up. What is that, and how would I get it off the rest of the playfield? Or should I just leave it alone?
You probably won't get off the rest of the playfield.
Okay, because it just keeps flaking and flaking and flaking.
Yeah.
And then, so then there's a little ridge at the edge of it.
What game is it?
Star Trek 25th.
Yeah. No. The problem is if you keep peeling the clear off, at what point do you start peeling artwork off as well?
Right.
And
Sometimes
then you're
paint
sunk.
comes and sometimes.
Yeah,
doesn't.
they're just sunk.
So what is that that's on there now? Is that just old wax, or is that?
Are you sure it's not the Mylar? Of course.
It might be Mylar. That's
Okay.
what I'm asking.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mylar on that one.
Yeah.
So does the Mylar should I try to get the Mylar off before?
Again, that's if you can freeze
If I
spray
can.
it, and there's no guarantee that you're gonna pull artwork up off that as well.
Okay.
I
I've heard cold or heat or.
Cold normally,
Cold, okay.
and then,
Spray, I've heard.
Yeah,
It
freeze
depends
spray.
on the playfields. I mean, we wrapped a fiber playfield trying to get the Mylar off of it.
Yeah.
did it work?
No, I got the Mylar off, but it took tons of the.
Well, this
artwork
Playfield
off.
is really
Yeah,
bad.
it was awful.
Yeah.
This is really bad. The ship is all gone, and
Yeah.
so I don't know how much worse I can make it trying, but
Other games, you'll feel the Mylar, it'll pull right up, no
Yeah,
problem.
it's just
Like,
flaky. It's
but
dry.
some games, the Mylar's on there.
Thanks.
They must have used different types of adhesives on different.
Yeah.
A Playfield clear coating, if you, for instance, this one here, brand new, I'm gonna charge them $225 plus tax to scuff it, clear it, sand it, clear it, sand it, clear it, and sand it again. This is one process away from being done here. So is this one here. So if you get a chance, take a look at it. But I wish I could have brought a CPR Playfield in that showed the planking and the lines. Again, that doesn't eliminate that. It's gonna happen, just depends on.
How much did you say you charge?
$225 plus tax.
It's actually not that bad.
No.
No, considering we have to spend that to get the first gallon and then we screw it.
Well, you gotta remember,
right?
well, you gotta remember though, in my situation, I'm fortunate.
Yeah.
If I'm in the spray booth spraying a car, I'm spraying Clearcoat. So to put a couple Playfields on a rack in front of it, it's not that bad. If I was to do these solely by Playfields, you're talking $300 or $400 a piece. Yeah. So try to find yourself a friendly body shop in the area
I
that
thought
sprays
you were-
good quality
I thought
clear.
you were applying for the job.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
Canfield,
Okay.
near Youngstown.
We're
Yeah,
about half
how
hour
can we
away.
contact you to send you playfields?
CanfieldPinball.com. Yeah,
Canfield with an N?
yeah, with a C. Canfield, Canfield, CANFIELD. Yeah,
They have the good fares.
yeah. Now, putting clear coat over decals, that's a different thing.
But isn't it Mylar?
That's a moving target. It depends. You know, my automotive clear, I can guarantee you, my paint rep would say, there's no way in hell our clear was never meant to go on top of Mylar or decals. And it works. It just, I can't guarantee what it's gonna do down the road. It definitely brings the color up, seals it down real good, but, you know, there's a movement now with all the large format printing to do a lot of decals.
Is that on overlays also?
Yeah, overlays, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like on that 1960s machine that I've got, where they say, oh, you can scan it and print out decals to replace some of the artwork, like the numbers and things
Mhm.
like this that would go on the inserts. Bad idea?
No, no.
But if you're gonna clear coat it, it's a bad idea.
No.
You said it doesn't work with the decals.
Or are you
It
talking
it
large
does,
decals?
but there's no guarantee.
It's-
There's so many variances in decals and artwork. I've come to the conclusion when I did the clear coat over overlays or decals. You just dance the first coat of clear on there. You just don't know what my solvents are gonna do, that artwork and ink. So
So would I be better off making stencils and airbrush?
if perfect road, yes.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a lot of time, that's a lot,
Well,
That's
time I have.
time consuming.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
My time doesn't cost anything either.
Yeah, yeah. But again, we're in a very fortunate era of Playfields, where people are making a lot of them. They're redoing a lot of artwork. Hard tops, I've been involved in that for a while. 15,
printing?
what's that?
EV printing, have you been doing anything over that?
No, but I tell you what, I remember 15.
Or UV, not EV. That's a beautiful.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you what, 15 years ago, we didn't have anything. when Gene Cunningham came out, the first Playfields, and people complain about the artwork being off and color being off, it's like, that's all we had. That's all we had. You know?
Are Stearns EV, or EV?
I think they all are.
UV.
I think they all are now.
Are they?
Yeah, maybe Mirko doesn't do that, but I think all of Stearns
So
stuff.
basically, when Stern brings out that machine, they basically put it in a CNC, and then put it in their UV printer, and it's done.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they have to do too. That's,
Takes the human element out of it.
yeah,
It makes them all the same.
yeah, exactly.
How long is your clear coating process? Like, from when we send you a
If-
to get it back?
The Elvira right here has been about 6 weeks. I just put this last coat of clear on here about 2 weeks ago. He'll be done in about another week and a half.
2 months, about.
Yeah, I mean,
So when you got a car to
There's a
paint.
thing with that, like, the time duration for the clear coat to cure, right? That's
cure, that term's a moving object. I mean, if I paint your car on a Friday, I'm gonna deliver it on a Monday, you're gonna pull out in the weather on a Tuesday. It's cured, as far as the paint company is concerned.
But you can't wax it for 2 weeks or 2
No,
weeks.
actually, they recommend you waxing it with carnauba wax right off the bat for protection. That old story about don't wax it for 30 days, that's gone. Now, don't use any super polymer sealants on it for a month or two, or ceramic wax. But within a week, this stuff's pretty much cured as far as it's gonna go. I think I wanna wait because I want the wood to acclimate again to whatever solvents I put in there and wherever I have it sitting at. But that's why you want to clear the backside of the playfield too. Makes sense. I mean, if you got a brand new playfield, you want to clear the back of it as well. You don't want to spray it, but you want to brush it at least, tap it.
Yeah.
Slow and steady.
It's a standard woodworking.
It looks
Exactly.
You don't want the ceiling on one side and open on the other, because then they'll tend to warp.
I did solid doors in my house, so the hollow core doors, and there was a sticker on the side, seal all ends, seal all corners. I did that. Makes sense. I mean, why would you want to clear coat the top and worry about the durability and not seal the bottom of it? Makes sense.
Are there any rules for after install of everything? Like, you know, if you got a wide body playfield and you put it like on that little bracket, you know, you think the clear might tend to like chip or anything that you would be worried about as in regards to like after installation?
No, I mean, if it's really fresh, I mean, there's been various schools of thought where you populate the playfield right away, or you wait like 6 months. Just do it. I mean, if you're worried about it, pre-drill the holes, you know?
I would do that anyway.
Yeah.
But if it's prepped properly, I've been doing this, I probably clear coated over 200 playfields in the last 15 years. And I never have anybody came back and said they ran a screw in or ran a post in and had the clear, what's that problem with Stearns, what they call that?
with the pooling around.
Yeah,
the-
exactly. I've never had
Yeah.
that. And I think with Stern, that's a problem with their process. They didn't prep something right, and I think they know it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was happening with Jersey Jack.
Yeah,
Too, for,
yeah. And it might be the process of the clear, they're probably using some kind of a environmentally friendly clear that they have to use. You know, who knows? Who knows? I've never had that before, and I've populated a bunch of playfields. The only time I had that, I don't know if how long you guys been around, but there was a guy in Illinois that was clear coating playfields back in the 10, 15 years ago. Did a great job, but he was putting that stuff on thick. The playfield came back, it looked like it was a piece of glass. But the problem is, that's the problem. It looked like a piece of glass, and it was a piece of glass. You ran a post to this stuff, and it would crack. You know, that was the old style clear I was talking about. And you just don't have that now. It stays flexible for so long. Shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. But if you're worried about it, pre-drill. And put a little bit of, have a bar of soap next to you and throw a bar, tap your screw into a bar of soap before you run it in. Yeah. Yeah. Bar of soap.
How many playfields do you do at a time?
It depends. Like right now, I've got 4 or 5 in the shop. You know, it depends. Like I said, I've got a car in the booth. I'll spray it in the booth with 2 playfields at a time, 3 or 4.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. If it got clearly done, you gotta watch it though. If you have a metallic car in front, you're clear coating playfields in the front,
you get sparkle.
Yeah, you get sparkles, you get glitters. Some people like it.
That might be kind of cool.
Well, some people like it, some people don't. Yeah, and I've done Playfield aprons as well. Yeah, it makes a big difference. You clear coat those and put some metallic in it, makes it look nice. Yeah.
Have you clear coated any cabinets with that new trend?
Yes. Keith Campanelli, Pirates Life Pinball, I've done quite a few for him. That's a project, that's a lot of work. Especially if you go with I mean, you order a new cabinet in a black paint, it's fine. But if you want something special, it's a lot of process.
What's the difference between the clear coat and like polyurethane? If you were doing a cabinet? Is there a difference or no?
Well, polyurethane as in the color or the clear?
No, if you were doing like this, if you're doing the actual cabinet, the size.
Not much. Polyurethane is, you probably wouldn't want to use it on the cabinet anyhow.
Okay.
You probably want to use just base coat, clear coat on the cabinet as well. I've got a Dracula cabinet at the shop right now. It's mine. I did base coat, clear coat, but put blue metallic on top, and with clear on top. It's just the same thing as a car. Yeah, polyurethane.
Well, I don't know. We used it on our floors. I'm just trying to figure out if that would do the same effect or not.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm still green.
What's that?
I'm still green.
Is the two-part shaker can worth?
Yes, that's actually a good process. I recommend people use that when they do the hard tops, when they clear coat over the inserts. But you gotta remember, 12 hours later, it's gone. It's hard. Yeah, and wear a mask. That's some nasty stuff.
When you say it's hard, meaning it's not flexible like this to
It's
put
flexible,
screws
but it's
through?
impermeable.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
and once
permanent, it's
once
not-
once it's on there cured, you're not getting it off. Lacquer thinner's not going to take it off. You know, naphtha, it's done. It's done. But it's some serious stuff. Wear a mask, well ventilated area.
You say a mask, not one of the dust masks that are in N95?
Respirator, yeah.
Respirator.
Some you're getting air somewhere else probably.
Mm-hmm.
Full respirator or one of those ones where you're pumping air in.
Yeah. They make the same process in primers now too. But primers activate. You punch the bottom of the can and you spray it. You got to like 12 hours or 10 hours to spray it. Yeah, it works good. Just gotta be careful with it. Yeah. Because the lacquer, anything lacquer or enamel without an activator dries by evaporation, not by curing. Where if you activate it with a 2K with a hardener, it cures by activation and it chemically links up, and after a while you're not going to pull that apart. The problem is it's nasty stuff.
Kind of like the difference between Elmer's glue and epoxy.
Yes, exactly.
Two-part epoxy.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
I
much
came to
so.
that about 6 months ago. I've been afraid to try to use it.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you going to use it on?
Actually, I'm doing a whiteboard thing, and I just wanted to do the blank board,
Mm-hmm.
and then do whatever I was going to do on
Okay.
top of it. So
Okay.
it's just a play field, but just a plain board.
Yeah.
For
That would look good as a
practice.
base, because it would make that wood impermeable to anything sinking into it. Because once you spray that stuff on, you're not getting it off.
Okay, and then you put art on top of that?
Yep. Mm-hmm. You just scuff it up with a red scuff pad, Scotch-Brite pad, and go at it.
Is there an environment that it has to be in when you do that? Does it have-
Ventilation. It's just
Ventilation
nasty.
and temperature range.
Temperature?
Pardon?
No, like humidity or air conditioning or?
Obviously, it has to be above, 45 or
70 degrees or something like that.
50 degrees, 60 degrees.
It says it on the can.
Yeah, but you
Parameters are.
gotta be careful. That's just nasty stuff. I mean, if that overspray goes in your lungs, it's gonna cure inside your lungs as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not leaving. It's not leaving. I mean, I can only imagine the damage I've done to my lungs over the last 35 years because I didn't take enough precautions. As you can see, that's it, right there. A week later, that's what's in your lungs. You spray
Your nasal passage.
Exactly,
Your
that
lungs,
too.
your glasses, your hair, your
Yeah.
clothes.
I wish I would have brought sample of the cheap clear that shrinks into the water in the bottom. It's amazing the difference. So you get what you pay for. You really do.
I don't think I'd ever try it myself, to be honest.
Overspray too.
Not if you could do it for 220 bucks.
Well, that's what he's charging for that one, that's not every single playfield. That's not your price for a playfield, that was
This is
a brand
gonna
new
be-
playfield that was ready to go.
This would be 225?
Yeah.
That's some of this one. Because they're a new playfield and you're trying to get the optimum.
But if you're doing a restore or something like that.
That makes a difference, yeah. I've done playfields where I have to cut multiple coats of clear, you're talking $300-400. You know, touch of black, you know, touch of the edges.
Still, if you have that much trouble with it, how much trouble am I gonna have with it?
Oh,
I'm afraid to punish it, but I can.
The can stuff, I tell you what, give them credit. That's actually a really good idea.
It seemed like, yeah, I actually was a coatings inspector for the pipelines.
All right, there you go.
But I've never mixed the stuff myself. I know how you have to do it. I've never
Yeah.
done it myself.
Yeah.
I have to admit, the canned stuff does sound like a good idea, because you know the mix is right.
Yeah. But you have, I think, 8 to 10 hours to spread.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It's good. They sell primer like that too, and the epoxy primer and direct to metal primer.
Oh, your face is probably all froze too. Anything exposed.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Oh, yeah.
all right, any other questions? Again, I apologize for lack of,
You don't have your presentation.
no, they told me about this last week. Hey, you want to do a seminar on clear coating? Sure.
No
Well, I found it very valuable.
Yeah,
exactly what
thank
you
you.
did.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Whatever that's worth.
But check these out.
No.
But check these on the way out.
If you're gonna touch up a 1980s playfield that has some wear, what would be the best process? You clean it with naphtha?
Either naphtha or a water-based cleaner. I'm a big fan of water-based cleaners now.
Right, so you clean it with naphtha, you touch up, okay, then you put a coat of clear on it? Can it just be a spray can coat of polyurethane? And then put your artwork on it, and then get it clear coated?
If you bring a Comet playfield into me that has a wear on it, I would, right off the bat, a great 3M scuff pad, water-based cleaner. Stay away from the solvent-based, even alcohol if you can. Wipe it down, you know, and when you wipe it down, don't wipe it down. Wipe it down, you roll so you're taking the contaminants off. You roll the rag. And then maybe, if you want to, a solvent-based, spray it on the rag first. Don't spray it on the playfield. It just lays on top and dries all the contaminants back into the playfield. So
you're just going like this.
Yeah, exactly. You roll it off. And then you do your touch-up. If you want to, clear it first. But if you're going to clear it first, you want to sand it first, scuff it first with a red scuff, 3M scuff pad. That's when before you clear it.
Teeth to attach to it.
Sorry, pardon?
Gives it some teeth to attach.
Yes, exactly. Then do your touch-up and then clear coat on top of that. It's a weird process, I know. It's hard for me to explain it, but over the years, I've kind of, that's the way we want it, that's the way it should be done, in my opinion.
So when you say sand, you're not sanding the whole entire artwork off,
You want
you're just going over it
But
just a little bit?
you want to scuff the whole playfield with like a red scuff pad, red 3M scuff pad. Yeah. That way you're not worried about scuffing back over your artwork and taking anything off and putting scratches on anything. So.
This is why Supreme Pinball was good, because there's nothing.
Yep, exactly. Now, back when we were doing a lot of scared stiffs and Attack from Mars, but gobble holes worn out of them to no end. I mean, right off the bat, I would sand the playfield down with like a 400 grit sandpaper and put a coat of clear on it and walk away from it for 2 weeks because you had so much touch-up work to do.
That can he was talking about that you activate.
Mm-hmm.
You would need 4 of those then, because you only got 12 hours after you hit that button or whatever it is, then that can's
So
thrown.
get everything you want to clear coat out at the same time and
Yeah.
then go.
But
How much is this can?
About $30.
Yeah,
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. About, what, 12 ounces? 15?
Spray can.
Yeah.
Well,
Just normal spray cans.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It really is.
Did I look at, on your invoice, the 128 ounces was like $725?
Mm-hmm. Now, that's my Clearcoat, though, that's not,
Different quality.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So we're not apples to apples.
No.
All right.
that's this clear here. That's a week later, no shrinkage, no water at the bottom, you get what you pay for. So when you wreck your car and they tell you it's gonna take $4,000 to fix it, that's why. That in parts.
I'm amazed what you guys can do with cars.
Yeah.
You mentioned the solvent, affecting the inks on overlay and stuff. Wouldn't the water-based clear prevent that from happening?
There's no such thing as water-based clear in our business right now. It's all water-based pigments. They have not yet come out with a water-based clear that has any durability whatsoever. They have a UV cured clear, that if you're a big enough shop and have a UV oven to cure it in, you can do it.
Is that just white?
Pardon?
Just like a big?
Yeah, there's no water-based clears yet in our business anyhow.
Spice Hacker or that German stuff, I didn't know if they'd come out with that yet or not.
I haven't heard it yet. I mean,
My buddy's a paint rep for one of the largest paint places here in Northeast, or maybe all of Ohio, I don't know if that's out yet.
yeah, there's
He
no,
was talking about it like 6 months ago, so.
there might be, but you would need some kind of curing booth to cure it. Because water-based clear by itself, I know there's water-based paints, they've been out for a long time now, but water-based clear, I haven't heard anything.
Didn't actually prolong the conversation because I'm anti-water-based anything, it's just
Yeah.
not right.
Yeah, well, water-based pigments are a misnomer, because they're really not water-based. There's still solvent in there, but the percentage is water-based, so it makes them look green to the government and low VOC and all that stuff. But if you were to open up a body shop tomorrow down in the corner, they would probably put you in a water-based, but if you're an existing solvent-based shop, they leave you alone, because there's too many problems. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work quite well enough yet to leave it alone. Yeah. I mean, Sherwin-Williams, PPG, BASF, Ditzler, I mean, they've all come out with their water-based stuff and their solvent-based, and there's no sure answer to that yet.
That's they have a lot of fumes too.
Yeah. Pardon?
So that UV stuff has some bad fumes too, because that. I have,
Oh, yeah, it's all still solvent.
3D printer or solvent printer.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff's toxic.
Oh,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Baird Brothers Sawmill down the road from me. They do a lot of pre-finished wood, and they do a lot of the UV cleared stain varnish. And you had to walk into that place. I mean, my God, and those guys are walking around there with no masks on or anything.
Now, that's what we think of when we walk into your shop.
Exactly.
They
You're right.
because they got 7 fingers.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, well, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I wish I could be a little more informative, but it's on short schedule.
I think you've taught it up a bunch of us enough that we know that we're not qualified to do it ourselves, and you'll be getting some.
I mean, you could do it on the side, in your garage, get something like an older machine. Yeah, go for it. Give it a try. What the
Well, why
hell?
not? You can always fix it for us
Yeah,
later.
exactly.
Cursing the whole way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm starting on a piece of plain wood and see how that comes, and then we'll go to the next
Good idea.
So the difference between these two, this one's
That's
re-scuffed.
This is only half scuffed, isn't it? Because the bottom half is
This
still
one here,
gloss.
if it would have been something different, I would probably stopped here. But in my opinion, this is one more coat of clear.
It's very flat though.
It's like
And you
ready
don't-
to move.
You don't buff it when you're done, you just.
You buff the Playfield out, you cram compound in all the cracks and crevices.
I don't agree with buffing it, but I've
Exactly.
seen it done.
I mean, in my opinion, if there's a couple specks of dirt in this Playfield, put it on the glass, populate it, you're not gonna see it.
Nope. Even if there was, then you could just, get the nib down.
Exactly,
I would never buff
exactly.
the whole thing, because
But-
that stuff's in every single
Yeah.
speck of everywhere.
Exactly. I'm gonna do one more coat on this, just because I know who it is and he wants it perfect.
This is actually a pretty badass game.
Yes.
I love
So when you're gonna do one
Do you-
more coat,
Yeah, do you do this, like the sides and underneath at the
I
very
will
end?
on this.
I think it
Yes.
is, is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I will on this.
Yeah.
So you'll scuff it again before you shoot another coat?
I'll
then?
sand it like that.
Okay. What are you sanding with?
400 degree, oh,
On
this
block
one,
or just
DA.
On the DA.
DA with hard DA. I'll probably sand this one with 500 because it's the last coat. This one here is 400 because I know I'm gonna have to do 2 more coats on it.
So you're using the DA to just get it flat like glass?
Yes, yeah. You can block it and wet sand it, but you get water and so there's cracks and crevices and down these holes. And then, oh, no, it just, I've been there, done that. It turns into a mess.
So this is a pop lay game before you started?
No, brand new Playfield on our Elvira. It's a warranty Playfield on a stern. They gave it to him to replace a Playfield that was spalling. But you can see here how much clear I've got on it.
Where did his Playfield go back at?
I'm not sure. This is the new one, but you can see how much clear that's on this
Yeah.
Playfield now. Yeah. Oh, Bill Davis was his name. The guy was real popular back in the day, 15 years ago. He would just slam coats and clear on stuff, and so much so that it would disrupt your switch clearances. But the stuff would just shatter. It was just so hard. He did a nice job, but my God, it was hard.
I'm gonna be nosy and look at the back of it.
I haven't cleared the back of this yet.
Oh, all right.
That's the last thing I do. I used Minwax, water-based, with a foam brush. You can't brush it because you'll brush the stuff into the crack. Just dab it on. And it darkens the wood up slightly, but A, it seals the wood, and B, your fingerprints come off the back easy too when you're putting it together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it cleans up well.
So the top half of this one's been DA sanded down?
Yeah, that's what it looks like here.
So when you put the next coat on it, it's got that powder coat, or you wipe that down too?
I try not to, if it's in the booth nearby, I don't use any solvent on it at all. So I just blow it off and scuff it. Yeah, these are the pigtails. You gotta watch out for that.
That's a piece of dirt on the pad, right?
Yeah. But you can see here that there's still some insert. We gotta fill in, right there, yeah.
Right there, you can feel it.
This coat here, after I sand it down, those will be gone. And you can see here where you can just, a little bit of a cupping here, a little bit of cupping there. Now, rollover stars.
Yeah, would you recommend
Oh,
knocking
God,
those out?
there is just so.
This has gotta be a pain in the ass.
Ideally, you wanna pull them out of the playfield, but that's
Just like when you're doing a hard top.
But you can't do
Can of
that all the
worms.
time. It just, I try, if I know that, like here, I'll sand as much clear as I can around it first. Get the old ignition file out and file the edges down and make it work. I've yet to see anybody who has a
Good way to
solution
do
to
it.
that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
just knocked mine out of my Paragon like nothing, but when I was putting a hard top down, so
Okay.
I sanded it down first, so
Okay.
any adhesive that was probably up
gotcha.
against the wood. And I
You did a
just-
hard top?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it's the first Paragon, yeah.
Okay.
It's number one.
I wonder if you, what's that 3D printed stuff, that PTU?
PETG?
No, the stuff that dissolved in water.
Oh,
I wonder if you would print something like that and
Fill
stick
the
it,
hole.
in this,
yeah, they make a water dissolvable filament.
and then after you're done,
Just get it-
oh, you don't wanna get it wet though.
Yeah.
I've tried it. I've tried the inserts. I've tried the Vaseline, the Q-tip. It's,
There's no good answer.
no.
Go back in time and tell them to stop doing it.
Exactly.
Dude, you are amazing at your craft.
But you can see here where, like right here, that'll be gone. Next coat of clear, that'll be gone. That's why I brought this one in, because I know I pounded this one pretty hard with clear, so I knew I had to fill some stuff in. And by the time this is all sanded and this is sanded, it'll look like this, pretty much.
So the final coat will get rid of that little,
Yes. Yeah.
which is still,
So the final
There's
coat,
no
you just
ball
leave
hop
it, you spray
there.
it and let it dry, and that's it, then it's over.
all my machines waiting
And
something
obviously you
out.
spray it flat like this.
You know, a box you drop them in, or just lay them flat?
What do you mean?
I mean, I've seen some guys will build a box with an edge to hold them,
No,
you know.
no. Put them on a rack.
Put them on a rack.
Yeah, put them on a rack.
That guy who just holds them.
Yeah. With a mask all the way around.
Super respirator.
All right, y'all. That was a great presentation by Andy. If you want to take that Clearcoat journey, or you can reach out to him. I dropped his link in the chat from his pin side that has all his contact info. He says he'll clear our Playfields for $225 starting. That's amazing. Let's see, NK, yes. All right, y'all. We wish you were all here at Cleveland Pinball and Arcade Show. Put it on your calendar for next year. It's every September. And we will see y'all later. Next week on Thursday, we're going to be bringing back PinTech Live. And we will have a guest technician, Matthew Talley from Lynn's Arcade, going through repairing games on location, tips and tricks, and work through some of his real repairs that he needs to work on to keep his arcade running. So that'll be really awesome. And we're going to continue with the guest technician series. We'll bring back Kyle soon, but thanks y'all so much. We're going to raid the Straight Down the Middle Pinball Twitch channel because they are streaming the Women's Royal Rumble finals. So stick around if you're on Twitch for that. And see y'all later.